I want to talk about the Lakers and the Nuggets, who played one of, if not the games of the year. I thought OKC in Denver last Monday was a strong candidate, and still is, obviously, for game of the year. SGA hitting the game winner, and Jokic, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the MVP battles, all of it. The Saturday night in Los Angeles. So the Lakers go up, I think, 17. Denver storms back. At one point, Denver's got a 6-point lead with 3 minutes left, and then it's just chaos from there. So a myriad of turnovers and bad errors by both squads, including, by the way, not an error, but a great play. LeBron James, we don't have the rights to show the footage, unfortunately, but LeBron James, just at 41 years old, year 23, this man is throwing his body on the court to recover a loose ball. You tell me, I've said this over and over and over again. LeBron ain't playing for money. He's a billionaire. He wants to win championships, but he's got 4 of those. He's done winning MVPs, got 4 of those. His legacy, by and large, is set. You know why LeBron James is playing? Because he loves basketball. And that's exhibited by him laying out on the floor in a game in mid-March. A big game, don't get me wrong. It was for the tiebreaker with Denver, but this isn't game 6 of an elimination game in the Western Conference Finals. This is a game in March. No one would kill LeBron if he didn't just throw his body on the floor for that basketball. So tip of the hat for LeBron James on that. But at the end of the fourth quarter, Austin Reaves, after committing a brutal turnover late, Lakers are down 3. Denver commits, to me, the smart strategy. I've always believed in this. Fouling up 3. They foul Austin Reaves, hits the first free throw, and perfectly misses the second. It looks like there was some backspin where he missed it off. We'll play Austin Reaves soundbite in just a second, but he missed it on the left side of the rim. It perfectly caromed out to him. He had a little runner to tie the game, and then Luka Doncic in overtime wins the game. So we could show what Austin and Luka did last night. Austin Reaves was, to me, the best player on the floor in that game. 32, 7, and 6, 12 of 21 for the field, 3 for 8 from 3, 5 or 6 free throws. That 6th missed free throw was obviously an intentional miss, and it led to as you see there at the bottom, the game-tying shot in the fourth. And then Luka Doncic, who quietly has been kind of awesome as of late, 30-point triple-double, 30, 11, and 13. Again, Luka's not always going to be terribly efficient. 10 of 26 from the field, 4 of 14 from 3, 6 of 9 from the line. And again, the game-winning shot, the step back on the left baseline in overtime. And before we get to why the Lakers cannot win a championship and why the team they beat on Sunday night or Saturday night cannot win a championship, Austin Reaves talking about the incredible intentional miss that led to his game-tying shot.
See, they have one guy on that side, so try to miss that side and try to go make a play.
Be honest, is that something you practice?
I've done it before, yeah. So a long time ago in the AAU, I tried it, and it worked. I hit a corner 3, but not to this magnitude.
And we see guys that try to intentionally miss free throws. They'll bank it in, or because muscle memory, especially if you're in the NBA, for crying out loud, the endless amount of shots these guys have taken, it's just natural to try and make the free throw. So when you're told miss it, it's it almost doesn't compute in your head. Wait, I'm supposed to not make this shot. And so for Austin Reaves, Luka Doncic did this a few years ago with Dallas, where he intentionally misses and hits a game-tying shot. And Austin Reaves saw, okay, there's 2 guys on the block on the right side, 1 guy on the left for Denver, so I should shoot it to the left, and it ended up working perfectly. So here's why the Lakers can't win a championship this year, is that, first of all, they're an atrocious defensive team, and over the course, we literally saw it last year. Just look back to last year's series against the Minnesota Timberwolves, and that will show you everything you need to know. When you have not 1, not 2, 3, arguably 3.5 if you're talking about DeAndre Ayton, defensive liabilities on the floor, another team especially with a great perimeter scorer like an Anthony Edwards, like a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, like a Wemby or a De'Aaron Fox, are going to absolutely annihilate you over the course of a 7-game series. Austin Reaves is not a good defender. LeBron James, he's 41. He once was a great defender. He's not anymore. He can be in stretches, by and large, not that good anymore. And Luka just refuses. He is, listen, I've said this over and over. I'm not asking to be Tony Allen, but I've used Steph Curry as a prime example. No one's ever going to accuse Steph Curry, my favorite player of all time, of being a great defender. Steph tries on that end. Steph will, fight over screens. Steph will stay with his man. Is he going to be the guy that people attack when they're playing the Warriors? Yeah, because he's, by definition, almost the worst defender on the floor. Steph tries on that end. You're not going to get easy buckets against him. Luka, it's like it's beneath him to play defense. That said, he's an elite offensive player. But with the lack of ball movement that this Lakers team has, with the atrocious defense that they are, with the just non-existent, and this has always been the case with Ayton, non-existent presence at the rim that DeAndre Ayton can be when you're going to be facing a big team like OKC, like San Antonio, like Denver. I mean, you can say Jokic wasn't as efficient as he normally is, still at a triple-double. Like, you can't stop Nikola Jokic. Minnesota's a big team. Like, that's going to be a problem. It's better than what they had a year ago when J.J. Redick didn't trust Jackson Hayes to play the entire second half of a must-win game for Minnesota. Not that much better. DeAndre Ayton might as well be 6'6". That's just what it is. And so when you're that bad defensively, and again, if you look at the Western Conference today, the standings goes follows: OKC, San Antonio 1 and 2. I think it's a, barring significant injury, knock on wood, that does not happen. I think it's almost a shoe in Western Conference Finals between those two. Lakers are the 3 seed, Houston the 4, Denver the 5, Minnesota the 6, and then a half game back of them is Phoenix, but Phoenix we don't consider a legit contender. If the Lakers let's say we get a 4-5 matchup or a 3-6 matchup, Lakers and Rockets, I would take the Lakers. Houston does not have a point guard. Again, I was out on Houston the second that Fred VanVleet got hurt in the offseason. Then you lose Steven Adams. There's also the weird sort of, the KD burner tweets. Like, is he on great terms with Şengün? Who, speaking of which, Şengün is a complete liability on the defensive end that I think Luka and Austin Reeves would attack mercilessly. I would take the Lakers to beat Houston. In a series with Denver, it probably goes 7. And this sort of transitions me into what I'm saying about the Nuggets. I don't buy them as a contender either. They're also, like the Lakers, a bottom 10 team in the NBA in terms of defensive rating. That's not going to work. Now, listen, by virtue of having arguably the best player in basketball on your team, you're always going to have a chance to win. I mean, think about last year when you're playing the 1 seed Thunder with significantly more talent than you had. Aaron Gordon's hurt. Michael Porter Jr., who's on the team at the time, he wasn't healthy. Jamal Murray was inconsistent. You had a brand new coach at the time in Adelman. The series went 7 games. And by the way, Jokic wasn't even Jokic in that series for big stretches. So just by virtue, it's like when you had LeBron in his prime or Steph in his prime, like just by virtue of having the best player, you're always going to have a puncher's chance to win any series you play. But when you're that bad defensively, and Jamal Murray's not going to be that atrocious shooting the basketball as he was on Saturday night against the Lakers, but that playoff Jamal moniker, we haven't seen it in a while. I'd say 2023 Western Conference Finals against these Lakers was the last time we saw it. Or maybe 2024 first round against the Lakers. But wasn't that great in the Minnesota series in the 24 second round? Wasn't that great last year? Now he's coming to shape. He's having the best year of his career. He's coming to shape. Maybe we get playoff Jamal Murray in 2026. If we do, that maybe changes some things. I see this Denver Nuggets team with a second round ceiling, and that's exactly the way I feel about the Lakers. You tell me if the Lakers run into San Antonio, they don't have playoff experience. Man, I get that, but there are still, it's a matchup game over a 7-game series. As great defensively as San Antonio is, the Lakers will have to be almost flawless shooting the basketball, getting whatever they want on the opposite side of the floor to make up for, Wemby and De'Aaron Fox are just going to torture Luka and Reeves and LeBron and DeAndre Ayton for that matter, particularly Wemby. And OKC, no, I absolutely don't trust them to beat the Thunder in a 7-game series. In Minnesota, the Timberwolves haven't been very good as of late, but again, big team, that gives the Lakers problems. A great perimeter scorer like Ant Edwards is just going to attack Luka the whole time. So, sorry to burst the bubble, Lakers fans. Charles Barkley, listen, Barkley was a little too hard. We know Barkley hates the Lakers. I'm not, as a Warriors fan, I'm not terribly high on them myself. I just don't see the path for them. Barring significant injury to other contenders, if they face Houston in round 1, the Lakers win. If they face Denver in round 1, hand to God, I really don't know who I'd pick in the series. I'd probably go Denver, but you could convince me one way or the other. Outside of that, they ain't beat Minnesota. They're not beating OKC. They're not beating San Antonio. So that's where we're at today. And I say the same thing about Denver. From a matchup perspective, hey, they took OKC 7 last year. They've got experience. The Spurs don't. I get that. You don't have to be the best defense in basketball. But I think the only team, I could be wrong on this, I think the only team in the last 25 years to not have like an elite defense, like top 10 level defense, was the 01 Lakers. And they had maybe the greatest duo in basketball history, Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant. And by the way, they lost 1 game that entire playoff run. So, respect to Jokic and Jamal. They ain't Shaq and Kobe, to say the very least. Jokic may catch Shaq. It's at least on the board. Jamal's not Kobe. We know that. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.